raunch comedy featuring talking dogs. We've seen that element in movies a bunch of times. That's always been in family movies. Here, it's an adult rated R comedy. In this movie, Will Ferrell voices this dog named Reggie. He's owned by this terrible, awful piece of shit owner named Doug. One day, Doug just drops him off in the city, leaves him alone there, and Reggie eventually meets up with these other dogs that are led by Bug, voiced by Jamie Foxx. And now he's learned what it is to live life as a stray and ultimately to make his journey home to his previous owner so he can exact his revenge on a certain area of his owner. I love dogs. I love me a good comedy. I love really raunchy, over-the-line humor too, so I was hoping this could have been the next big, extreme, great comedy that I think the world sorely needs. It came from the people who made Good Boys, and I thought Good Boys was a very clever twist on, you have these kid friends, but it's a rated R comedy, so I was hoping this movie could do something similar in that manner. And for the most part, as a comedy, I thought this movie really did its job. First of all, I really love the voice acting in this movie, particularly from Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx. The two of them are great in this movie, and their characters, through their voice acting, had really good chemistry with each other. Starting off with Will Ferrell, I love the way he voices this dog because the dog, Reggie, represents a very naive, just unquestionably loving sort of attitude towards his owner despite how awful his owner is to him. I thought it was like the clear representation to what it is to be a dog. I mean, they just, no matter what, they will love you no matter what, and that's why we don't deserve dogs, man. They're way too good to us as people. And yeah, seeing how awful his owner treats him, you are rooting like hell for this dog to get away from this owner and just stay away from this owner, but, the dog just can't help but do that because, he loves unconditionally. And of course, everyone on planet Earth is going to take Reggie's side because, in reality, we would all take a dog side over a terrible, pathetic human being because dogs rule and people suck. Also, Jamie Foxx's Bug I thought was really good in this movie. I mean, he plays sort of that tough guy sort of attitude, the guy who's been living on the streets for a while, so he understands, the ropes of everything. He takes this little dog under his wing and just shows him how he's going to succeed and survive. In the other two dogs that came along the way, I really liked their chemistry with the other two. I really liked how they all became friends as a unit and just how they agreed to work together and help each other out. It felt like a pack forming between the four of them, and that was good to see. The dog lover in me appreciated seeing that. Also, is this movie funny? Yeah, it definitely is funny. There are moments throughout it that absolutely had me laughing. Never to the point where I was falling out of my chair crying, but I will say, whenever the movie handed me a joke, for the most part, I did laugh at the joke, and that is not nothing. Because the movie is extremely clever with the way it uses humor, just the way dogs act, the way they behave, the way they do certain things, how one dog might be attempting these things when they've namely been a house dog or a dog that just hasn't really gotten out much, like Will Ferrell's character. The movie also has moments. There's one in particular where they are clearly setting a joke up, and you know exactly where it's leading towards, and you would think that would kind of ruin the joke, but it didn't at all. It made for probably the funniest joke in the whole movie. The joke was pretty fucked up, but I like fucked up. Having said all that, the movie does go for a lot of cheap jokes here and there. Like, there's a lot of dick jokes, a lot of shit jokes. I mean, the movie is like, it's gonna be rated R, and we're gonna make sure, yeah, this will be rated R. We'll make sure of that. But when it comes to dick jokes and shit jokes, I mean, I always felt like those were like the cheap ones they go for. It's like, yeah, let's just make jokes about that stuff because it's just funny and it's silly and it's dumb and that's what people laugh at. Part of me does definitely give it a little bit more of a pass and a little bit more of a slide because, I mean, it's dogs, so it's easier to poke fun at that kind of humor. But at the same time, I still can't ignore it because I did feel it was a little bit cheap. Also, this movie did make two mistakes with the comedy that I feel hurts pretty much every comedy. Number one, I think they take some of the jokes a little too far. Not in the sense like it's over the line or anything like that, but they take a joke that works and they just draw it out. Like the joke maybe will go on for a couple of scenes and you'll find the joke funny, and you'll find it humorous, and you'll laugh at it. But then throughout the movie, they keep alluding to the same joke or alluding to the same moment and just keep going along with it to the point where you're just like, alright, it's not fun anymore. Do you have anything else? It's like there's milking a joke for all it's worth, and then there's just milking the joke too long. If they backtracked a little bit, they could have stayed in that safe space, and they didn't really. Also, in this movie, there are a couple moments where they're trying to turn on the drama a little bit, trying to turn on maybe some emotion or something like that. I'll touch more on that in a second. But there are moments where it's like that stuff's going on, you're kind of feeling a little bit, but then someone has to make a joke, which kind of, maybe the joke is still funny, but it does kind of kill the mood. It's like, I get the movie as a comedy, but if you want to really make people feel over a certain moment when it's supposed to be a little more dramatic or what have you, it's like, let that marinate for a while. But where I really want to give this movie a lot of credit is it had way more heart than I expected it to. And maybe that's ignorant for me to say because, I mean, it's a movie about dogs. I mean, what movie about dogs isn't going to make you feel something? But there were a lot of arcs, a lot of storylines that they took with certain characters, and you see where some of them came from, what some of them have dealt with, and what ultimately it's all leading towards. Like, there are just a lot of moments that just really tug on your heartstrings. If you've ever had a dog, if you've ever been around a dog, if you've ever loved a dog, which any normal human being would, any good human being would, you'll probably relate to something, you'll feel for something, and in some moments, you'll look at the dogs and you will love them more, you'll feel for them more. Like, yeah, the movie could have just been a pure raunch kind of like, let's just make people laugh, let that be the only focus, but there were moments where they really did want to make people feel. And although I did allude to earlier that some of them, they went for their humor a little too quickly, when they do go for the heart and they go for hitting you in the feels, it really works. So all in all, Strays, it was an effective movie. The voice acting across the board is really well done. Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx in particular, they're great. It has a very unique story. I like seeing this adult version of a talking dog movie. It has a lot of funny moments, not all that completely had me out of my chair, but effective moments nonetheless. Could have dialed back on reusing some of the jokes, could have let some drama marinate a little longer, but it absolutely comes through with some really good, strong, emotional moments that the movie didn't have to give you, but it did, and it made it feel like more of a dog movie, which I think is the important thing. In the end, I had a good time in this movie, and if you're a dog lover, I think this is absolutely a movie that's worth checking out. 100%. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.